Welcome in, beautiful souls. If you're new here, my name is Jane, and I have received this message that it came to me probably about 4 days ago, and it started with me every time, like I would put on like my headphones, or if I was out walking, or if I was going into meditation. I was not just feeling, but I was hearing this heartbeat in my ears. And I didn't really understand what it was. You know, like when you're doing like a lot of exercising and you're like doing a lot of cardio. And actually, no, the best way to explain it is, you know, when you have like you're suddenly propelled into like a state of fear, and your heart is pounding so hard in your chest you can hear it in your ears. It's like that. But only I wasn't like, I was just standing still, or I had my headset on, so I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't feeling fear. I wasn't having any of that going on. So I didn't understand what was happening. Anyway, I got a download. I kept asking, like, what is this heartbeat? You know, and I started thinking, like, am I hearing like the heartbeat of the universe? Because it was kind of like wigging me out a little bit. And so they gave me this download, and they were saying that so the heartbeat's what started it, but it's about heart hooking, and I didn't understand what that meant. And they were saying like there's an immunity. They wanted to bring out talk about like an immunity about heart hooking. So it has to do with astral energy and entities and or beings. And when they refer to beings, I don't know if those beings are in the astral. Well, I know they're in the astral because they're entities, but I think they also are talking about the ones that are actually on the earth as well. And so that, you know, they're either trying, or they try to connect with you in the mental realms. So this has a lot to do with the mental and the heart chakra and the solar plexus here. So it's all tied in. So they were telling me that these entities are disconnected from their hearts, and that's why they try to hook into your heart. So only allow beings that are completely in the light to be in your field. So I do believe that this has to do with somebody, or a lot of somebody's, everybody, I guess, that are either trying to connect to something higher than themselves. They're trying to connect with their angels. They're trying to connect with source, you know, their loved ones, however you want to view the universe. Now, in doing that, there's a specific method that needs to be done. And so for the humans that are on the earth that are trying to hook into your heart, this is they're saying that it has to do with a solar plexus imbalance, and that it's either underactive or overactive. And this is how you can recognize what, if yours is under or over, or the people around you is under or over. So if it's underactive, the people will have like low self-esteem. They'll have fear of rejection, indecisiveness, fatigue, and digestive issues. Now, if it's overactive, they will be aggressive, like they'll have aggression, they'll have control issues, they'll feel like they're perfectionists, they'll be competitive people, they'll have anger and outbursts. They were saying that it's really important for the healing and the balance of the solar plexus. And some of the things, they gave me some of the things that can be done for the healing of those solar plexus things. So you can do yoga. And if you're not able to do yoga, then you can use crystals. You can use citrine, yellow jasper, tiger's eye, amber, and pyrite. All of those, you can use those to work with the solar plexus. And it's the practice, and then practice self-acceptance and learn and set healthy boundaries. So I'm going to move this aside. And they had, they flicked out a few of these cards here, and sovereignty. This dragon here, this is all about the solar plexus. So I wasn't surprised that they popped that out. You know, this is all about shedding your old skin and the old beliefs. and identities, and to do some deep, like you, like the deep feelings and emotions, because that's what goes on in the solar plexus, right? It's where a lot of our childhood pain is. That's the inner child. It has a lot to do with this inner child healing. Now, the challenge is to challenge your reality. Like, that's really what it is. That knowing that there's like the flow of oneness, and to trust that flow. And that flow of oneness is so much different than the like the ego paradigm, right? So to trust that you are from the light and not living like a nightmare. See, the thing is too, right? When you're going through an awakening, a lot of things are going on at that time, and you can confuse the light for dark and the dark for light. And that is actually normal, to swing back between those two, like going back and forth for a time. Like, that's a normal thing to happen if that's what's going on. And then also, it has a lot to, it's between the mental and the heart. So when you balance your solar chakra, that allows the mental and heart to be able to connect as one, because the solar is considered like the second brain, I guess, in a sense. Now, the other thing too is the mind might try to tell you that you're not capable of going to the next step, or able to connect, or able to reach the heights of awakening, so you can connect with your God, so you can connect with the unseen. Now, the other thing that you have to really be careful of too is that just knowing that your heart is strong no matter what. The human and cosmic heart, and that is, the cosmic heart is the heart of the universe, the heartbeat of the universe. And the heartbeat is all love. So that heartbeat is where it's all love. And because you're part of the universe, that means your heartbeat is all love too. And it's just that, because living on the earth and dealing with the ego and trying to survive, like all the things that we need to survive living on the earth, the ego has to take place to protect us in a way, you know what I mean? But then we reach a certain point and have to understand that, even though that the ego is there to save us and protect us, it's also there to hinder us and strap us down, basically, right? Anchor us into a type of way of thinking that does not help us transform and move into the higher realms, right? So the other thing too is that your heart will, because it is so strong, it is truly unaffected by interferences. So once you open your heart to the level, or even like, so the awakening and the opening of the heart is kind of, it goes hand in hand. So like the opening of the heart, once you reach that, then entities are not able to hook into you. Not only that, you're able to distinguish good people from bad people. Do you know what I mean? Now, the thing is, you have to remember, like when you're going through this awakening process, there is zero distance, like I mean zero distance between negative energies and yourself. Okay? So that's something you always have to be aware of. But the thing is, like, you can't allow fear, because the fear is what allows them to hook into you anyway, to begin with, right? Or attach to you, let's say it that way. So the heart of the universe and the Lemurians, because you know, they're the family of light, right? So they embrace all hearts. It doesn't matter if it's ones from, that are hurting, ones from like past karmic cycles, I'm going to say, ones that are closed off because of the mental focus, ones that have done even atrocious human things. Like, the heart is, the family of light is always going to accept anyone that's willing to change. You know what? Anyone that is willing to open their heart to a higher level. So it doesn't matter if you've done terrible things on the earth, or, you know, you've thought terrible things. Like, that doesn't really apply when you want to go through an awakening and open your heart, because opening your heart is part of the awakening. And once you open up the heart, then you'll notice things like, you'll embrace a way of thinking that, because honestly, like, what happens is when your heart's not open, that ignorance of that stems from like mistaken identity. And again, we're circling back to this ego, because the ego, see, here, let me put it this way. When people try to tell you who you are, or try to say things to you, say like when you were a child and somebody said something, like your parents said something to you, when they were saying those type of things, it's because they didn't truly see who you were. They didn't have the ability to see who you truly were, and that you were truly a child of the universe, and that you were truly a heart-filled, heart-loving being. And it's because of their own wounds, and because of maybe past life type things that have been born into them. So having all that going on, like, that wounds that child, that wounds that little soul. So what happens when you grow up, you continue to maintain that type of thinking and feeling towards yourself. And that is what you have to deconstruct and then rebuild. And that happens during an awakening. Okay? So once your heart is completely awakened, you no longer see your enemies as an enemy. You see them as what they truly are: a broken, hurt, fearful soul. And with that, it will create a whole different way of viewing the universe. I know it's kind of deep and it's really intense, but I mean, there's a whole lot more to it. But, the cosmic heart and the human heart is not easily, it's not fragile. Let's put it that way. It's not fragile. Like, no matter how many times, you think back, like, how many times have you been hurt? And, you have a choice. You can either choose to continue to love, or you can choose to curl up and become hateful and mean and vicious, and, then hurt other people. So once your heart opens to a certain degree, though, you no longer view the world that way. The other thing, too, is the only thing that the ego fears is death, is its own death. So that's why that's why when you go through an awakening, you also go through, it's called an ego death. And that's what the ego death means. It means that, you're no longer going to live in any kind of fear, because it's the ego that keeps us in fear, because the fear is what keeps it, the ego does not want to die, basically, because it's been in charge for so long. Okay? I know it seems kind of deep and it seems a lot to, anyway, I'm just going to keep going on here, but I was holding the selenite to keep, my energy clean and pure so that I could deliver that message, because that was a complete download and it was like messing me up for a bit. Okay, so where do you want to begin here, Spirit? Okay, so they're going to find out here what's going on. So now we know a little bit about the solar plexus. We know how the heart and the mind work. We know how these energies can, entities and or beings can hook into our heart. And the reason why they can, again, is because they don't live from their heart. So the energies that we cannot, that are in the unseen, you know, people call them demons, people call them fallen angels. I don't really consider them either or. I just consider them as, you know, these, okay, we'll call them demons if that makes it easier, or dark energies. You know, these energies, it's because they're so removed from their heart space. And, you know, that's why you'll even see people on the earth that, you know, they abuse animals or they torture children or whatever it is that they're doing, you know, and that's why, because, you know, they at some point were so damaged and their heart were so damaged as a little one, and over periods of, you know, generations even, you know, it's caused them to be removed from their heart space, right? And once they become removed so far, it pulls them deeper into the darkness, okay? And that's why when you're going through your awakening, you can experience like negative energies coming in and manipulating your mind and, you know, twisting you up inside and kind of confusing you. And that's what it's all, you know, but that's where you always have to remember that coming back to the love, coming back to the light. You know, sometimes you feel like you're, you know, oh my, I'm in this darkness, but then you're like, no, I'm in the light. And, you know, so there is something here that Spirit really wants us to know. But I know that they really, you know, with this heart opening, there's a way to prevent being attacked and the heart hooking to happen, like to prevent it. And I think it's because it's all about the healing of the inner child, because the inner child, once a lot of that healing takes place, there's an activation. The inner child has a lot of wisdom, and it creates an activation. Hold on, I need a drink of, I made some hot chocolate, so it's going to be a little tangy because I got to, you know, I add the separates, you know what I mean? So, okay. Need a little sip of this here. Maybe 2 sips or 3. Let me have a few. Here, hold on. Super, super hot. Ooh. Okay. So what happens when the inner child, when you start activating the inner child, when you start healing that, and it gives us new abilities to be able to parent that inner child from in a loving way. And when that starts happening, the old patterns start to reassemble, basically, right? So, and it also will lighten the body. So that has a lot to do with the truth and the loving essence of every soul. Okay? So when the heart starts freeing itself from the bonds of the dense, I don't know if it's the dense forms, I guess so, yeah, because you know, that's what's been blocking our path the whole time. Is that it, Spirit? So, okay, so the heart opening is where they want, it's the best way to do it is to, so this is Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and this is Jesus or Yeshua. I don't, depends on how you view these masters. So what it is if you attune to the Christ consciousness, and that will help facilitate like the opening of the heart, and it'll allow heart wisdom to activate. So then these beings that are around you, they can, they, because these beings are in the etheric, like I said before, like there is zero distance between you and them. So at any time, they are around us at all times. So it's important to always try to stay in the heart, because and you'll know how you're in the heart, because if you're in the heart, you're not going to have negative thoughts and feelings about people. You're not going to be gossiping or attracted to like the density. And when they refer to density, they're referring to like social media or like the mainstream media, like, because it's all just a bunch of negative, fear-based type things. So that's how you know that you're not in your heart space, right? When your mind is being taken over with that kind of stuff. So that's what happens. See, that's the thing about when you're going through awakening. That's why you can swing back and forth, like, and that does happen for a while, and that's normal. But what happens over time when you come to a higher awakening is you will catch yourself, and you'll be like, oh yeah, like, oh, that person does that because they're clearly hurt. And then you just accept that and you don't take offense to it, Now, when you stay in that type of thinking and heart space for a long time, like, I'm not just talking a day or an hour, I'm talking, weeks and weeks, maybe. I guess it depends on every person's a little different, but when you stay in that energy for a really long period of time without slipping back into the density, the lower density, that is when you have a bigger heart opening. And that's when you're able to anchor those lighter bodied energies into your vessel, basically, okay? So, I guess that's it, right? That's kind of deep, but let's move on with the cards here. Let's see what else they want us to bring out here. Okay, let's see here. This is all a process. Sometimes this takes like months and months. Sometimes it takes years to, to get to this degree of awakening. I have full body chills. Now, I just did a reading just before this one, and it was about energies that were. I'm gonna connect the two videos together because I do believe that they have a lot to do with each other. Okay, Spirit, what do you want here? Voice. Okay, all right. So that's one thing I didn't discuss. Okay, because it has a lot to do with your voice. It has a lot to do with your inner truth. It has a lot to do with your ability to stand in your own integrity. Okay, it's on the bottom here. Well, high heart chakra. That's funny, alone another 6, because I'm going to tell you that when I started this, when I pulled the deck out, it was on the bottom, and now I shuffled it and it's back on the bottom again. Okay, I'm just going to move this deck out of the way here. Yeah, you know what? The last video was about a bigger or higher power trying to intimidate a smaller person or a weaker person, and it was about being watched. And then they kept giving me the word insight and or insight. So, like, this is going to bring you some insight, or you're in someone's sight because you're being watched, okay? So these are these energies that are constantly watching. Okay, Spirit, what do you want here from this one? Look, again, that's 3 times. Look, and there's endless opportunities. Wow. Is there another card here? Light force energy. And then the throat chakra. Okay, hold on. So you want the high heart chakra, life force energy, and the throat chakra. Look at that underneath. I didn't even know this card existed. Portal Keeper. Is there another card here? Balanced forces. Okay, just like they were talking about with the type of forces, because you can have negative forces and you can have light forces. So it depends on, they're pulling at the sacral chakra too, but see, and then you have the solar right here. It has a lot to do with the lighting up, and I notice here that they have the sacrals really lit up and the solar here. Okay. So they have the voice in the throat chakra again, the light force. I think there's something in this that they want me to read. The light force energy. And you have to balance these forces. This is what I was just talking about, how it's normal when you're going through an awakening. It's normal to be swinging back and forth between the dark and the light, you know what I mean? And you'll notice like there's a lot of darkness around her head here, but yet the light is in her hands, like, and then it's all like the solar plexus here, and then there's even the sacral around her. Okay. Jeez, that was quick. Look, healing with nature. Your soul yearns to be outside in nature, around the healing waters, flowers, and trees. So we have hidden treasures. You have brilliant, untapped potential just waiting to be explored. I feel like there's another card in here. Well, connection. You are very connected to the heavenly realms. That's what I was just talking about. Okay. All right, Spirit, here we go. Whew. Okay, they want one more here. It's all about this healing, this inner child, just like at my pre-download, my talking about here. Let's see what you want here. But being able to recognize when your solar plexus is not balanced, that is really like, because the balance of forces here, that's what they're talking about. This, you can work with this golden dragon here, this solar dragon. This is a solar plexus dragon. Yeah, notice that they're showing this Merkaba too. And the Merkaba is, this is the energy to connect with, develop mental clarity. that heart, head thing. Okay, I think they want that card, but I'm not sure here. What do you want, Spirit? Mental clarity back on bottom. Okay, is there another one here? Black. Well, see, find richness from the dark night. Okay. See, this is what they're talking about. Look, see, you see in this card here, see how dark it is? But in the very center here, there's a star. Just like in her hands here, the light. Okay. There's something here they want me to stop and read this. This is called Beyond Lemuria. Now, the family of light, they are Lemurians, okay? So they're not here to ever judge. You know, the universe is not here to judge us. The universe from the light is not here to judge us. The universe, because there's always a balance in the universe. There's the light, as much as there is in the light, there is in the dark. So you always have to be aware of this when you start on your spiritual journey. Okay? What was it, number 34? Oops. It is time for celebration. Revel in the bliss of being alive. This is an incredible healing card packed with luminous light force energy for optimal health and healing. It reminds you to seek joy and upliftment in everything you do as much as it is possible. Consider the foods you eat, the environment you spend your time in, and the people in your life, and even the things you wear. Increase your awareness of their journey, how they come to be in your world, and their energetic resonance. You are alive and vibrant. You may also be inspired to work with healing energy such as Reiki or with the land. Healing with nature, look at that. Perhaps or to grow vegetables. You are encouraged to joyously make your life a piece of Eden. As a result, you will shine with vitality. And you know, it's funny because they wanted me to set out my an apple here in the reading, and I'm like, that's weird. I'm not putting an apple in the reading. But so I said, I took it away from the screen and I set it aside. But I knew I should have listened, right? That's why I just had it like right next to me, because they wanted me to, and you know, you'll notice it's a lot about the sacral and this and the solar, because the solar is all about the emotions and stuff, but the sacral is where your willpower is. And I noticed that they're bringing out those colors here. They're repeating those colors a lot. My ears are ringing as well, so I can tell you certain things are not going to like this video. Okay, let's see here. Okay, they want me to bring out one of these cards here. The golden stars. The stars are lining up for the perfect opportunity now. Yeah, you know what they're talking about with that? Because we are in February, and on the 17th, there is a new moon, a solar eclipse, and a bunch of planets are lining. I can't remember the planets that are all lining up. Plus, in the Chinese calendar, the fire horses, the new calendar comes in with the fire horse. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things that are going to happen this year. Okay. Though this reading is for whenever you find it, because we're all at different levels. So not one person is any further, okay, So I need to explain it a little bit, because nobody is in a higher position than anyone else. It's just that we all have different timelines to awaken. Okay? Yeah, that inner dialogue. In order for things around you to change, you must first change your inner dialogue. That's why they wanted me to read this card, but I was just like, oh, oh my God, and the card opening's right behind it. No joke. And then we have the heart, opening the heart here. Little spiritual practice. And the victim mentality. See, this is what they're always constantly wanting us to do. They always want us to be in this victim mentality situation. So this is all about like your inner dialogue. And see, it's got the higher heart. And that's what I was talking about earlier, right? Now, okay. So, okay, we read that one. So then we have the heart opening, which I'm not going to read because I don't find like what this has. Okay, I'll just read it. It doesn't really... Okay. Someone you know, it may even be you, is withholding love and creating a very emotional, painful experience for everyone involved. And this is where I was talking about how once you start opening your heart and going through the awakening process, you'll start viewing the people around you differently, because you'll see where they are in their healing process. You'll see where they are in their egos. You'll see how they don't resonate with you anymore. And that's okay, because eventually they will rise up too, because like when you heal, it's something that you don't even know. It's in the unseen, but it does help other people heal in a sense too. It's just that they might not heal in the same rapid way that you are, you know what I mean? So we all heal in different stages. We all awaken in different times. This isn't something that you can control or want to control. Okay. And then, because, these people might want to stay more into the ego and the victim mentality. So your spiritual practice here is making time for your spiritual practice. This will assist you with clearing your mind and restoring your inner peace. Okay. And it keeps coming out on the voice here. Now, I'm just going to quickly look, because they want me to, this voice and this mental clarity. So the victim mentality here is you are learning to understand that everything happens through you, not to you. Okay. That's the connection. That's the open heart. That's the spiritual, and I was saying earlier in my download about how, once you stay in that for a long period of time, then that energy can then be anchored down, and it'll just reside in you, and then you won't go back into any kind of darkness or mental, you'll just view the world in a whole different way, right? Okay, so what is it? You want the voice, circada, and then there's something here in this mental clarity. Find riches from the dark. Because like when they talk about find riches from the darkness, like this is about letting go of the ego, letting go of the the ego death, right? Let's see here. Oops. Oh, there we go. Number 6. I noticed that they brought out the number 6 quite a bit here. What's this number? Hold on. It's number 39. Okay. There's this like hair or something on this card. Okay. Let's see. The message is, you have spent a lengthy period of time socially quiet and subdued, keeping to yourself either out of necessity or a habitual... What is it? Habitual reticence to express yourself. Now, however, you intuitively know that the time has come to allow your voice to emerge. This means to show up and speak your truth without shame, blame, or judgment of yourself and others, which remaining unattached to the outcome of doing so. As you enter this next era of your life, you will no doubt feel some fear and apprehension, but it's critically important for your soul's journey to express your thoughts and feelings. Speaking up will take some practice, courage, and the willingness to take risks with your self-expression. One way to build confidence in expressing yourself with your voice is to sing, such as in the shower, along with some of your favorite tunes, by taking singing lessons, or even just spontaneously busting out with song, with or without others around. Confidence comes by taking risks, expressing yourself with your voice, and letting go of self-judgments about doing so. Now, the thing too, with the solar plexus, this is where you're healing any kind of shame. Okay? So, and because I didn't speak about any of that, they brought it out in the card and had me read that. Okay, thanks for backing me up there, Spirit, because there's a lot of information that they want me to go through, and that's why they brought out the throat chakra twice, because even though I said, oh, the voice, oh yeah, I didn't talk about it, and then again, I didn't talk about it, so they're just like, oh, well, talk about it. Okay, so there's something here with this mental clarity, there's something here in these cards. Now, you can work with these colors. Now, I don't know, don't be afraid of what's in the dark, though, because, it's just a lower version of how, they're just not healed. They're not attached to their heart space, right? So, okay. Start with this one, I guess. This is the dark night of the soul. Just like I was saying, like the ego death type thing. So at some point in life, everybody experiences the dark night of the soul. Give yourself permission to connect to the black ray so it can guide you to the gifts which lie in shadow. Visualize yourself in darkness and ask for divine wisdom to show you what you need to learn from the shadow. Receive its gifts to strengthen your faith. Say, Divine Spirit, infuse me with the strength, wisdom, and courage to connect to and learn from the shadow aspect of myself. Okay? So, they want me to read this. I just read like the dark night of the soul, but they want me to read this little blurb up here. So the black is a color of protection, strength, and retreat. A gateway to new experiences and a test of strength and resolve. Many people experience the dark night of the soul in order to gain wisdom and emerge for the better on the other side. Black dissolves the old so we can welcome the new. Receive divine wisdom and the gifts that we have buried deep inside you, that have been buried deep inside you with the help of the black ray. And just like I was talking about earlier with my download, that, like, I don't fear what's in the dark. I embrace those energies that are in the dark because I know, and in fact, when I am faced with dark energies, I internally, like, I hug them and they don't, they run away, but I send them love and acceptance because they're also part of the universe. Okay. So don't fear, like, don't allow them to like hook into your heart and drain you of your energy though. And so there's a difference, you know what I mean? Like it's really complicated and, hard for me just to explain it all in this one reading, but it just, it's to control the fear. Like, don't allow the fear to become your prevention of doing a spiritual deep dive, you know what I mean, to wanting to activate your kundalini and things like that. Okay. So purple is about the, and like I was saying again, it's about, it keeps coming back from the mental, from the heart to the mind to the heart, you know what I mean? But the solar plexus is like the key in all of that. Well, all the chakras are really, but what's going on here is doing the healing, and a lot of the healing has to take place in the solar plexus, okay? Because that's where like all the emotions and the pain and all that like dwells, basically. So I mean, you could always look at it that your solar plexus is black right now, and you need to bring it in to be yellow, into the light. Maybe that's a better way to think about it. Okay, so purple helps with eyesight, hearing, and bringing back a sense of smell, clears mental complexities, negativity, and inflammation. And it aids with rheumatism, pain, and the healing of bones, creating a connection between your mind, body, and soul. Purple also brings positivity and success. Use purple to clear your mind and let go of negativity. So, you know, and notice how they maybe put it right here, this victim mentality. Okay, so light a purple candle and focus your attention on it. Become aware of any negative thoughts or feelings you are experiencing, saying each aloud as you burn the candle. Imagine the negativity being consumed by the flame of the candle. Then say the following statement: Divine intelligence, please delete this negative thought from my mind, body, and energy field. Your energy field is your aura. Okay? Now focus on creating a positive state of mind. Stay positive. Say positive affirmations that can help you feel more inspired and peaceful in your life. Say, Divine Spirit, please install thoughts and feelings of clarity, peace, and gratitude. Keep practicing this exercise until your mind is purified of all negativity. Wow. Okay, so they want me to bring out this one here. Evolution. Number 3, telepathy. Well, it's another Merkaba. So you have a Merkaba here and another one here. This one says, listen more deeply to intuitive messages from your heart to increase your telepathy. Okay. So you know how, like, I think I was saying it early on, but they want me to repeat it. How, like, when you're thinking negative thoughts, those negative thoughts are coming from fear, and those negative thoughts and the fear is coming from through the ego, and the ego is being manipulated by dark energies that are not from the heart space. So they're trying to hook into your heart to drain you. Okay. Okay. Balanced forces. Yeah. The balance of the forces, the balance of the light and the dark. No matter what, there's always going to be, for every light being, there's going to be a dark being. For every dark being, there's going to be a light being. You know what I mean? It's just that you got to decide, you know, like what, and that's why they were talking about earlier about like who you have around you with this life force energy. Like, who do you have around you? Okay. All right, Spirit. What do you want here? Whoa, whoa. So it has, I think they just want me to read this one card. It's not the one, though. It's relationship. It says, recognize that you are all the same, many parts of the complete whole. This is what I was talking about. Like, you can't have one without the other. All right, Spirit. Oh, maybe they didn't want me to keep that card out. Whoopsie. Okay, is there another message here? All right, Spirit. What's the message here? figured that was the message. Oops. Okay, well, is there another one? Okay. Well, and another Merkaba. So it says here, relationship attachment. Release your attachments to anyone or anything. Okay, sorry, I'm going to bring that another card out here. I just feel like there's another card. Evolution, multi-dimension. Oh, look at that. Healing being. Okay. So, multi-dimensionality, number 13. You are changing and evolving as you move into becoming more multi-dimensional. And then healing here is look at who you need to be rather than what you need to do. Okay. This is it. Okay, just I wanted a couple of these, I guess. So let's see here. And then I'll close the reading. Oh, I'm not surprised. Look, solar plexus, confidence. No one will believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Oops. Okay. Yeah, it's that confidence. Okay, one more, Spirit. Creativity. Use creativity to transform your pain into positivity. The throat chakra again. And then the chakra balance. This is just a complete chakra balance here with called unity. So these are all the, just like in this card here, with all these, aligning all these from the solar to the star chakra. So once you align all of those, it says the illusion is separation. Blue lace agate, amethyst, and new jade. So this is the unity that they're talking about. Is there another one here? Okay, and then they have this one here on the bottom, which is the crown chakra, the very top here. And it says divinity, recognize the divine in the mirror. Yeah, because you're part of the universe, so you're part of the divine, you know what I mean? Whew. Okay, is this it? They said this was it for this session. So, yeah, this is interesting because, okay, I guess they just kind of backed up everything with the cards. So I guess that's it. I'm just going to call the reading because there's nothing more to say, I don't think. And I hope this has been really educational for you. I hope this has like helped you in a way that, can help you move forward and understand like where you are at this point and like where other people are and kind of basics on the universe. So with that, I'm going to send you all my love and light, and I'm going to bid you a good day. And I hope this video finds you well. So bye, everyone.